Hey guys, in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you how to edit any type of short form video that you have inside of an app called Splice. I've been using this app for several years and I absolutely love the ease of this app. However, the great thing about this video is you can use a lot of the things that I'm teaching you and showing you on how to edit the video and transfer that into a lot of the other editing apps that are out there for you to use. So say for example, if you don't want to use Splice, you can totally, use something like CapCut and be able to use these things that I'm teaching in this video to help you to edit in those other apps. And if this is your first time here, nice to finally meet you. My name is Shamecca Stevens and I help entrepreneurs, brands, and content creators to create an online presence through sharing tips, strategies, tools, and systems to simplify your business and grow online. So let's go ahead and jump in. Okay, so this is how I edit short form videos using the app called Splice. I just come right here into my video editing folder and I go to Splice. Splice is this one with the colorful S in the middle. So I'm going to open this app, and this is the Splice app, and here's a list of all of the projects that you have been working on and all that fun stuff. It definitely keeps everything there. And to add a new video to start editing, all you want to do is click the new project button at the bottom, and that's going to bring up your recent photos or videos. And the way you can break this down to make it even easier, so like mine's right here at the bottom of a video that I'm wanting to edit, like it's the most recent. However, if it is not, you can select the little drop down menu up here that says recent and change that to videos, and then here is all of the videos that is the most recent in your phone, and it makes it a whole lot easier to find exactly the video you're looking for. So here I'm going to select this 1 minute and 53 seconds and just choose next after I select it. Now if you have several different clips, then you can choose the type of transition that you want in between each of those clips, and so it's going to either swirl it in or crossfade it or what have you, so whichever one you choose. However, I'm not going to worry about that because I can always go back and add that later if I wanted to, but for the most part I just kind of keep it at none, and then I scroll down here at aspect ratios. I select 9/16 because that's the aspect ratio that you want to choose for reels, stories, all of that fun stuff. And to move this across here, like you see how I'm sliding this, you just want to slide it to the left, and that's what's going to get you over to 9/16. So then you just select 9/16, and then once that's selected and you have the transitions to none at the moment, if you don't want any transitions, then you just hit create in the top right corner up here, and it's going to upload and bring your video in. And so right here is my video. So let me just show you around in some of the menu options that they have on this main menu when you're first coming into Splice. So if you look in the top left corner where you see the little house, that will take you back to the home screen where all of your past projects are stored, which is where we just came from. That little arrow that you see that is kind of curved and going backwards to the left, that is going to be to undo whatever the last, action is, or several actions. And if you have something that you've undone, and then there will be another arrow that will pop up that will be going forward, and so it will be to redo what you just undid. And so I'll point that out too later on as we get going. And then of course, as we move across the top of the screen to the right corner, there is an export button, and that is once you are completely finished with your project and editing your reel, then you're able to hit the export button so that it's on your phone for you to be able to upload to whatever platform you want to upload it to. Then you come down here to the bottom portion of the screen where the black bars are alongside of your reel, and you see the little gear bar, and this right here is going to just tell you what the name of the project is and if you had any animated photos checked off or not. And then you just click the black area if you want to get back out of that. And then when you come to the rectangle/square icon here, this gives you the option to change the aspect ratio. So say maybe you chose the wrong aspect ratio when you were first coming into the app, you could change it here. So it's an easy fix, which is really nice. And you just, swipe left, or like hold down and just go left or right with your finger across the bottom there. And that's what moves that little slider bar and allows you to select. And to know that you've selected something, you see how the 9/16 is highlighted with a gradient blue and purple color there. That's to let you know that that is the one that is selected. So we're good there. So we're just going to select done. And then right here in the center is the play
button. This is going to play your reel and let you listen to the reel. This will be very pivotal in, editing the reel, because you need to hear what's being said and to know where to make your cuts. And then if you go on over to the far right, to the other side of the black bar there, it's the square with the broken lines in it. And when you hit that, it just makes your reel go full screen, and the reels editor kind of go, just be down here at the bottom. So you can press and hold to move this across here, just like that. And to get it to go back down to minimize in size, just tap that little icon that you tap again in the right corner there, and it makes it smaller. Now, right here, if you look in front of the reel, you'll see where it says mute clips. If you hit this button like I just did there, it'll say all clips audio muted. And so that's going to take all of the sound out of every single clip. Now, we don't want to do that, so I'm just going to tap that icon again and make sure we have all of our sound intact.
Hey guys,
and so it is. And so down here at the very bottom, you'll see media, text, audio, overlay, and effects. And media allows you to add videos or photos or different text or overlays from your cell phone. So when you tap this, it's going to bring up your cell phone gallery of pictures and videos and all of that fun stuff. So just know that that's what that will bring up. And so we're just going to cancel that. And then if you hit blank, it's just going to add a 3-second screen before your reel or wherever you're placing this. I've never really needed to use that, so I just generally try to make sure there's no extras in my reel, because I need to generally keep it as short as possible. And to have like a blank screen is just unnecessary for me when I'm editing. And then text is how you would add text to your reel, and you can hit text. And we'll get into this shortly because I'm going to show you how to add text, but basically you have the options to just add standard text that you can move and put anywhere on the screen. Then you also have text animations where it's animated when it comes across. And then you can also add captions to your reels from inside of Splice here. So just know that there's several different options there. Audio is going to be where you can add music or sound effects or a voiceover or another audio, say like from a video. The next option is going to be an overlay, and overlays are a lot of what I work with. So like when you create a graphic inside of Canva and you remove the background and make it a transparent background, then you can bring that in and put that on top of the video. So like an arrow to point to something, that sort of thing. Stickers would be something like, that they have in here that says like good morning. All of these cute little emoji type animated stickers you could even add, to your reel if you wanted to. And then last but not least is effects. So then there's video effects, which brings up, glitchiness, loud, blip, chroma, subtle, lens, prism, pixelate, all those different options. So you can choose from that if you wanted to kind of give it a cool effect. Then there's the transitions, which we talked about in the beginning. And this just gives you like every single transition option that they have. So you definitely have a lot to choose from. And where you would add transitions is you see where I've got the yellow line over that white hourglass looking icon. So right here, you could put in a transition right there. So see how it just spun that picture? That's what it's going to do. So you can put transitions in between each clip, like each clip that you edit if you would like. However, it's, totally up to you. You could also make it random and it just mix and match options in there. However, I'm just going to take this off right now and remove that. And the next option is speed effects. So this allows you to increase the speed of how fast you want the video to play. And so the faster you go, the more it sounds like a little chip. And like I said, we'll talk about this more in detail as we get to it, and I can actually show you all of those effects. But I just wanted to give you like a quick overview of what each of these items meant down in the menu area. And then once you click, like I just did on a specific clip or the clip itself, it's going to bring up this menu down here, which gives you all the other options that they have inside of the editor here. So trimming it, you can, slide the bar like this one here. You can slide it back or forward like that to trim the video or to take off just a little bit of a portion of that clip. The volume is going to allow you to increase the volume to make it sound louder or to fade it if you wanted to. Over here in the top right corner, again, there's the mute option if you didn't want to hit it, just right there in front of the actual clips. And then it just, it's just all the other different filters. Now, the other one that I used would be adjust, and that would be exposure. So if I hadn't already corrected this from, editing editing inside of my phone, like increase the exposure inside of my phone, I would do this here. But I try to do as much as I can from my phone and then just pull it over into the editor and just do the quick edits that I need to do here and make it easy. You can also increase saturation to make it more vibrant if you wanted to. So as you see here, there you can increase saturation. However, you don't want to go too crazy because you'll start looking a little crazy. So right about there would be completely okay. And then you could do this double check, click it again to say apply to all, and then select again, apply to all, and it was successful. So that is definitely an option that you can do to kind of brighten up and make your videos more vivid and pop a little bit more. Pretty much, well, exposure and saturation are the only options that I use inside of adjust. And then you just hit that down arrow and it brings you back to the main menu. And then once you click on your actual reel or video there, it's going to pop up this area here. You can always press this down arrow to bring up just the basic menu, and then of course go back and click on the clip itself to bring up the detailed menu of all the different options that it has. That's just a quick overview of all the different icons on the main screen here. And so let's go ahead and jump into editing. So the first thing I generally do whenever I'm going to begin editing a video clip is I first listen to it, and I'm listening to see where do I need to make my cuts, where are there like some maybe long pauses, or where did I repeat something a few times and then I need to clip and trim that off. So whenever you see this down here, it is selected. So I'm moving my cursor, I'm moving this, I'm kind of pressing down here under the blue highlighted area, and I'm just moving this back and forth, and so that allows me to select different areas. And so what we need to first do is say, okay, where does the cuts need to be made? So we hit the play button right here in the center.
Hey guys, in this reel, I wanted to share with you one of the most frustrating things that happened to me just last week. I did 3 or 4 days of filming modules back.
Okay, so what we could do is trim out, just to give you an example, the and ums, ands, us, all of that can all be trimmed out of your videos, especially in a reel, because that's going to take up very sacred time, and we don't want to have time taken up with a bunch of us, ands, and ahs, or pauses, all that fun stuff. And so that's just something that we tend to sometimes do when we're talking and we're not sure, we're thinking of the next thing we're saying, or it's just a go-to word for us, if you will. And so what I'm going to do is listen back and find that the or whatever it was that I was listening for. So hold on.
I did 3 or 4 days of filming, module filming.
Okay, and see, there's also a breath in there right at that point. And so what I'm going to do is split here. I'm just going to tap on the yellow line, and then that pops up this little menu that you see above. And all I'm going to do is hit split, and then
modules back to back.
Okay, and so I want to get that to the pause and the and then it start where the word modules is at.
Modules back to back.
And so I think probably right about here. And so there's a few ways you could do this. You could tap again right here on the yellow line, and the part that's highlighted, that little bitty clip right there, you can now tap on that and then select delete. And that's going to delete that little portion of the clip out of there. Now let's move it back a little bit farther than where we made our cut or our split and see how it sounds and make sure everything sounds okay. And if not, we can adjust then.
3 or 4 days of filming modules back to back, and I thought that my streaming,
I think that's pretty good. You can tell if you're listening really hard that is where a split is, but for the most part, nobody's going to really be listening that hard. And so let's just listen a little bit more and see where else we can cut some things. And I'll do that a few times so you get to see the gist of how things work.
modules back to back, and I thought that my streaming was looking good,
and I could probably cut out the and here, and I thought, so just go here, tap on the yellow line, and then tap again, and then hit split. And then let's see if I got that right. So
3 or 4 days of filming modules back to back, and I thought that my streaming was looking good. And
okay, so we did our cut right here. And so here's another way that you can kind of trim that portion. And so instead of just trying to get a little bit after the and, like sliding the bar over and then tapping on the yellow bar and then it pops up this menu, instead of doing that, you can actually just use this little pull bar, the little white highlighted pull bar here, and pull it forward, and that will trim that off. So let's listen and see how that sounds.
of filming modules back to back, and streaming was looking good.
So we need to trim, just move it a little bit more.
Days of filming modules back to back, and streaming was looking
A little bit more. Okay.
days of filming modules back to back, and was looking good. And days of filming modules back to back, and was looking good, and back, and my streaming was looking
modules back to back and thought that my stream, let's see, I thought is where I'm trying to get it to. Modules back to back and that my streaming back to back and that my streaming filming modules back to back and thought that my streaming was to back and thought that my streaming was of filming modules back to back and thought that my stream, it may be how I end on a lower, and I like that when you kind of emphasize on, you know, a certain letter, it's going to be a harder cut to get smoother. So let me see if I can, I'll try a little bit more, but we'll filming modules back to back and thought that my streaming was, and so say like, okay, there's this little bitty clip here. Sometimes it's really hard to get that, to get where you can actually click on it. So if you have an issue to where it's too small to click on it, you just can click right here and then pull, like press and hold down on the black underneath the highlighted area, and then just use both of your thumbs and pull them in the opposite direction of each other, and that helps to stretch out the clips down here at the bottom. So like here, let's see if there's something in here I can kind of clip and make it a little better and smoother. Modules back to back and thought that my streaming was looking good. 3 or 4 days of filming modules back to back. Thought that my streaming was looking good. So that is a little smoother, but it's this exactly what I explained just a while ago. It's you're making an inflection on the very next word, like I, and then the one where you're ending a sentence, which is the and I. It's going to be a harder transition to make it smoother, but that's okay. We'll just roll with it just like this. So back. Thought that my streaming was looking good and everything was all set until I went back and turned all the lights off, until I went back, and so this can be cut out because this is like me rambling and adding a little too much detail. So let's just see. And that until I went back and turned good and everything was all set until I went back and turned all the lights off. So turned all the lights off. We can cut this part out. So I'm going to tap there and then tap again on the yellow line and hit split and then play, and then I'll hit split again in just a second. Back and turned all the lights off until I went back and let's see. Until I went. So let's cut right here. And then I'm going to select that because it's already selected. To know which part of the clip that is selected, it's always the highlighted blue clip. And so just tap on that if it isn't already, you know, selected and popped up, this little menu, and then you just hit delete. Okay. And let's make sure this is going to work. Everything was all set until I went back and. Okay. And so we need to cut the until I went back on this end. Until I went. And the little breath at the end. Thing was all set until I went back and viewed every single until I went back. And we'll cut it again because apparently I did it a few times. I did a few takes. All set until I went back and reviewed all of them. I might could cut this breath out a little bit more. Was all set until I went back and reviewed all of the modules that I had filmed, and they were all junk. They were all super grainy. Okay. And so that's kind of how you go about, you know, splitting and trimming and really, you know, taking out the parts of the reel that you don't really need in there. And like I said, just be mindful of the pauses, the uhs, the ums, the ands, all of that fun stuff. You may or may not need all of your ands. And so that is one of the things that I noticed for myself that is an issue. Say you want to watch this in full screen mode instead of with the little editor at the bottom. Hit this little square box over here that's got the lines, the broken lines on all 4 sides, and then it makes it go full screen, and then you hit play down here at the bottom in the middle. Hey guys, and this reel I wanted to share with you it full screen. One of the most frustrating, so that way once you get finished editing, you can actually go back and see, okay, what does this sound like? Do I need to clean it up a little bit more? Are there any more changes I need to make? That sort of thing. The other thing is, say like for instance, if you wanted to speed up a portion of a clip, and so sometimes like this one, you probably would not speed up a talking head reel because it starts to sound like the little mouse voice and gets a little high pitched. However, sometimes that may be an effect you're going for. So to speed up any kind of clip, all you have to do, so what I'll do is I'll make a little break here so it's not the whole thing, but I'm going to say like I just want to speed up this first portion of the clip. So you see down here at the bottom, the third option over, it says speed. Click that, and then once you select that, you can now move the dial to the left, and as you see, the more I move it to the left, the smaller that clip gets, and then that means it's going to go 4 times faster than the normal speed that it's recorded at. So let's hear what it sounds like. wanted to share with you. So that's exactly what it sounds like. It's just like a little mouse, like making all these squeaky noises. And so let's see if 2 sounds a little better. I wanted to share with you. Okay, so you can see, all right, that gives the little mouse voice. So if that is something that you want to do in certain areas of your reel, you could totally do that. Those are sometimes really cute and funny effects to add. And so that is how you would do that. Now, say like I want to apply that 2x to all the clips instead of having to go in and individually do every single clip, then all I need to do is hit this little blue button down here in the bottom right corner of my screen that says apply to all, and then it's going to pop up this message, are you sure the changes you've just made will be applied to other elements as well? And so yes, I want to be sure that it applies to all of the elements and all of the clips. So let's go. Okay, so it lets you know apply to all successful. And so now not only did it take a minute long video and shrink it down to, I think it was like a minute and 10 seconds or something like that, so now it's shrunk it down to 52 seconds. So this right here under the play button is the first portion of this on the left side, what second you are in the video. The right side is how long the video is. So the 0.52, that's telling you, okay, this reel is 52 seconds. And so now let's just listen and see what this sounds like on 2x. In this reel, I wanted to share with you one of the most frustrating things that happened to me this past week. I did 3 or 4 days of filming puzzles back to back. And so that's a little too fast, even, you know, for a fun effect. And so you kind of would still have to slow it down a little bit. So you really have to kind of, you know, select and choose where and when you're going to use that. And so now, say like we want to undo what we've just done, which was apply the 2x speed to all of the clips. Say we want to undo that. You'll come up here to this little arrow that is going kind of backward, and it's kind of like a U-turn looking arrow. And so you just hit that, and it's going to undo apply to all. And then we can hit it one more time because we know we did the 2x on the clip previously before that one. And then now just go back and listen. I wanted to share. So it still needs one more. Let's see if it. I wanted to share with you. And then we can hit it one more time and see if that fixes it. I wanted to share. Nope. Okay, let's see if this is it. Hey guys, and then. Okay, so you can keep hitting the undo arrow there, which is the one that is pointing left towards the little house. And that's going to undo the most recent changes that you just made to the reel. And it'll keep doing all the way back as far as, you know, how many ever changes you have made. And if you want to redo something, say like I want to, you know, put the little mouse voice back on there, then I would just hit the other arrow, which is going forward, and it's the arrow right beside the undo arrow. And so you just hit that, and then it will redo what you, and so we know that we don't want it to go that fast, so we will just undo it. But I wanted to show you that just so you can see. Also, you can see how that affected the time. So this video was actually at 1 minute and 45 seconds, and it was at the 2x, it was at 52 or 54 seconds. So you can see how having that speed up option is really nice, especially for certain clips where you may not be talking but just showing something, and you just need it to kind of go a little quicker than maybe what the speed you're recording in. And so that's a really good time to use that effect, and you'll start to get a feel for, you know, when a good time is to use all of that. The next thing is, say like you want to now, say if we were completely finished editing this reel, what you would want to do is come down here to this little arrow, this little down arrow at the bottom of the menu bar here, and hit the down arrow. And now what we need to do is add a title for this particular reel. So you want to select overlay, because we want this to just lay over the top of this reel. We don't want it to cover the reel to where you can't see me or my background and all that, or the video itself. We just need something to lay over on top of it, which is going to be the title. So we're going to hit overlay. That's going to pull up your camera roll. Now this is all of the videos that you have, so you'll have to change this back to recent so that way you can see your titles. So let's go right here with the StreamYard tip to prevent audio video issues. And so I'm going to select that one, and now I'm going to select add up in the top right corner, and it's going to add it to my reel. Now wherever you have that yellow bar is where it's going to add it. As you see, I made sure that I had it at the very beginning of this reel because I want this to pop up at the very beginning of the reel. Now also notice, since this is highlighted, the blue box up top above the video is highlighted. Now you just take your thumbs and you press down and you pull them together to the, you know, like coming towards each other, and that will make it tighter and smaller to where you can put it wherever you want on your video, so that way you can move it up here if you wanted to with just using one finger, and that will help you to move it around the screen. But if you need to increase the size, you press down on it and then you pull your thumbs apart. And if you want to shrink the size, you pull your thumbs together. And that is going to allow you to get the perfect sizing for that particular, for that particular title that you're going to have on your screen. And this is really important when you start thinking about reels and looking at people's reel grid on their profiles. And you want to be able to really easily look at the reels grid and see, okay, here's all of the different videos and here's what this video is about. And it allows people to easily start going down all the different rabbit holes with your reels and watching them. And so this just kind of gives them an idea of what the reel is about. So before they start jumping in and just listening to random reels, they're actually really able to see, oh, okay, this would be something I need to know more about. So let me watch this one. And so that's how you add an overlay right there on top of your reel. And so your overlays are generally up for 3 seconds, but say like you wanted this to last longer, all you have to do is highlight this and pull this bar over here to the right, and it'll make it go even longer. Like I said, though, it's generally 3 seconds is long enough for somebody to be able to read and know, okay, that's what this is about. Also, another thing that I wanted to share with you is, say for instance, you wanted to add something where you were going to point something out on the screen and you wanted to have like a little arrow icon. You can do that by laying another overlay as well on top of your video wherever you want to put an arrow. So say like I wanted to point out my pop filter on my microphone. So what I would do is just bring it right here and go to overlay and then just hit overlay again. And then you see how I've got this arrow right here. I'm going to select it because I've already created this inside of Canva. And so now all I need to do is add it. It's got a transparent background. And so it's going to, do what I need it to do. It's going to look correct. It's not going to have a white background behind it, which would be blocking me. And so say like I wanted to point at the microphone here, I can cut this here and you can move it by just pressing and holding on this element, and you're able to move it around. Say you want to make it bigger, you press down with both thumbs and you pull out apart from each other. This allows you to kind of get it lined up with the way you want it lined up. And that is how you would add an overlay. And this overlay, it's got it lasting for about almost 2.5 seconds. The other thing that I wanted to be sure that I showed you in here was also if you wanted to add text, say like to a certain part of your video, you would come in here and you would go to text and you would hit text. And then right here where the text bar pops up, where you see this little blinking cursor, you can type, hey, here is my text, exclamation point. Okay. And then select check. And then now you can press and hold to move this around to where it shows up and is where you want it. And then say like you wanted to add a background color to that text, all you would need to do is hit background. And then now you could, put a background color behind it. So that is an option there. Now, if say for instance, they don't have your brand color background, you could go over here to the little eyedropper and say like, ooh, let me use this pink, right here. You could do that. Or we could do, let's see, maybe this is a better pink. We could do this pink, and there we go. That's more close to my brand colors. And so that's one way of changing out the color to match maybe some of the elements that you have in your background or what have you. I wish there was a way to where they would allow you to be able to put in the hex code versus trying to match this. Another way to go about this is whenever, say like you did your overlay here, you could also come down here and there you go, and it gets the color. So that is another way to get your brand color in there. Now you may have to do this each time, I believe, because it does not unfortunately save them from what I have found, but that is another way to get your brand colors in there with some of the elements if you want to do the text option versus creating the text and then, adding it as an overlay from Canva. So there's a few different ways, and if you have questions about this, don't hesitate to definitely ask questions in the Facebook group, and I'd love to help you out. Okay, and so say like we're like, okay, we're totally done with this video. We've got everything we want in here, and now we can go and export the video to our photo album to be able to then upload it to Facebook. The only thing you need to do to be able to export is to go up here to the top right corner of your phone where it says export, hit that, and then this little pop-up menu pops up and it gives you options. And so what is the resolution that you want this to download in? You always want to download in the highest resolution possible because you want it to be a really clean, crisp, and sharp video video whenever you go to upload it to Facebook. So as you see, if you hit this little drop down arrow, it will pop up other options that are smaller. And I would suggest doing nothing less than full HD 1080p, because that's going to give you the best resolution possible from 1080p and up for your reel that you're downloading. And then the file format, you just want to change that over to MP4 format. And I generally leave it where it's at, the 30 frames per second. And then once you've got all of that selected, now you can export the video. So you just hit export video at the bottom. And you want to be sure that you leave this up. This is what this little pop-up note is saying is, hey, we're exporting the video to your phone. Please don't close Splice or put it in the background. If you close this out, it's going to basically stop it from downloading. And so we don't want to do that. So we just leave it up. And it will take a couple of seconds depending on how long and how high quality of the video. But generally, it's no longer than about 30 seconds to completely get a video downloaded. Okay, so you're all set. So now this is saying, hey, your video has downloaded to your phone. And so it gives you options here to post it as a reel in Instagram, a story, or to TikTok, Snapchat, all of those different options. However, I just close out here because I'm like, okay, it's on my phone. I don't need to go through that whole aspect of it. I'm going to upload it to the different places that I want to put it. So now all I need to do to get back to the home screen here is to go over to the home button in the top left. And this right here, you can see, sorry, my eyes look kind of crazy there, but that's just where it's saved. Nonetheless, this is the most recent project that you did here. Now, say like you wanted to change this to, not be project 124, you could click on these three dots in the right corner there and select rename. And this will allow you to rename this reel. So all you need to do is just hit X and then, or delete all of that out, however you would do that on your phone. And then I'm going to put StreamYard tip reel. And then once that looks the way you want it to look, then all you have to do is hit the check button there. And that's going to, as you see, it updated the title. So I hope this tutorial was super helpful for you and gave you a little insight on how to use and work Splice, or really for that matter, any editing app, because pretty much the functions, like I said, are all pretty much the same in each of the apps.
And if you found this video helpful, be sure to watch the next video on your screen now to learn how to create super simple and easy reel titles.